Michael, let's get to the Bunnies first. Of course, coming off another heavy loss, 54 points put on them by an in-form Melbourne Storm side. Board meeting tomorrow. Does anything come out of that so close to a game on Thursday?
Yeah, potentially. Board meeting tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. at Heffron Park in Maroubra, South Sydney's headquarters. My understanding of the situation, they're going to be presented a raft of options, including the immediate termination of coach Jason Demetriou. Now, whether or not the board goes down that path, time will tell. But there's no doubt there have been conversations in that club about where they are heading as a football team, and whether or not Jason Demetriou is developing that team and the players individually to the standard that they would expect from a team that probably should be in the top 8 or not at the bottom. So I'm not going to preempt what will happen at that board meeting, but there's no doubt there will be discussions from the power brokers of that club in regards to Jason Demetriou's future. And if they believe that he's no longer the man, I wouldn't be surprised if they just decide then and there, before they start training tomorrow, that he walk out the building for the last time and Ben Hornby and Dave Furner take over heading into that Penrith game on Thursday night.
Was there anything to see in that Melbourne match, Gus, that can help the coach?
Look, I think they tried. At times I thought they tried too hard. I think there was some, there's some frustrations there because they're out of form. They haven't got their full complement of players out there, which you need in this competition. And the score was no surprise to anyone because that's what the good two teams can do to the bottom teams when they get on a roll and they play the way they do. It's a hard time for them. I still don't think changing the coach is going to solve it for them. I really don't. They've got to look back at how they got themselves into this situation. What did they neglect over the years where they were finishing top 4 virtually every year, top 4 or final year, but who was preparing for the future? All right, when those sort of players moved on or got older or whatever happened from there. So they probably haven't planned for this period as well as they should have. And that's got to be a lesson. You can't let that happen to you again. Jason Demetriou is probably paying the penalty for poor planning by the club when things were good.
Wasn't that succession plan though, Gus? Lockie Ilias was a large part of that, right? The club made the decision to let Adam Reynolds go and they believed in Lockie Ilias and they stood by him for a couple of years. They've now made the decision to go and sign Lewis Dodd from the Super League. So that succession plan is now out the window and they are starting again. Is it as simple as to say that Adam Reynolds' decision was a pivotal moment for that club that set them on the course that they have now?
Well, I don't know what their salary cap situation was at the time. It seemed like a strange decision from the outside looking in that their major general and their top point scorer was being allowed to walk out the building. We know what he's done for the Broncos up there. But I don't know what the cap situation was at the time. I don't know what they thought they had coming through the system that they had to accommodate into the future. The issue is that when you've got one of those game-managing playmakers, you probably shouldn't never let them go. You've got to hang on them for as long as you can. Look at all the age of our key playmakers at the moment are playing well into their mid-30s. And they have to because the younger fellas just aren't coming through as quickly or as well done. This fella's a good player. The fella over there in where is he, at St Helens?
St Helens, yeah.
Yeah, Dodd. He had a tough time, I think, the year before last. He had an Achilles injury and he was out for some time. He's certainly a good attacking player, but how many backs, how many halves have come out to Australia from England and actually made their mark out here over the decades? I don't know.
So the forwards are. It's obviously a simpler game for the forwards, but to come in and manage a game, it's a big ask being a halfback. For me, they're just a team that aren't working together. I'm sure individually they're all working hard. They all watch their videos and they're doing as much work as they should be, but they're probably not pushing up each other. They're probably not supporting each other. One thing I noticed in the match, whenever they got a penalty or something went their way, they just stood there. No one went in, congratulate each other, tapped them on the backside, well done, mate, great job. So I feel like they're lacking that togetherness, that connection, as the popular word these days is. And I feel like they need to get back to some of that, just supporting each other.
They certainly lack belief. I mean, when you watch them play, it doesn't look like they're expecting anything good to happen. They're waiting for the bad thing to happen. And I think they're in that, and we've all been there, here we go again. Yeah. Here we go again. That always happens to us, and that's just where they are.
Isn't that a dire reflection of where it's at, though? Like, we're sitting here and you're talking about this, they're trying and they're trying hard and they're doing this and that. This is South Sydney. Like, we're talking about a team that everyone was saying was going to win the comp now 12 months ago, and now we're saying, we're seeing effort from them. Like, isn't that a poor reflection of how far they've fallen, if that's what we're giving them credit for?
Yeah, I think it is. And look, whether that means it's the coach's problem or a club problem, I don't know. I don't know who pays to pay the price. Generally speaking, in this game, the coach pays the price. That's generally the way it works. But look, defensively, they're letting 34 points, 54 points on the weekend. They're not defending well. They're not working together. So whether that's a reflection of the coach, a reflection of the club, a reflection of the whole team? You know, I don't know, but generally the coach pays the price.
So I'm puzzled about the Lewis Dodds signing, right? Because he's a left-sided player. We know Cody Walker's a specialist left-sided player. And you go and sign him with your coach potentially on the verge of being moved on. And you've been in the market for a halfback for a number of years now. And if this kid is so good, I imagine you would have been making inquiries. So are you equally as puzzled as to this signing as to what I'm making out in this situation? Because he's obviously a good player. But as you said, there are question marks around these English players and whether they come over here and succeed.
Yeah. We consider that too big a risk at the money in that regard, and we're going to persevere with younger fellas that we're coming through our club. That's what we're doing. We're taking a long-term approach to it. South Sydney might feel as though they're in a different position. They mightn't have anything coming through their system. They might feel they need a quick solution right now, someone who can come in and manage the team. The Reynolds thing has obviously hurt them, and I think they're now trying to put the finger in the dike, but it's a little bit too late.